Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a Walking Dead what if video. So basically this is going to be how I think The Walking Dead should have ended, or how I would have written, I guess, or done the ending of The Walking Dead. So basically we're going to keep the show the same, roughly, or for the most part the same from season 1 to 7ish. Because I feel like, personally, as someone who's read the comics and seen the show, prefer how the show did seasons 1 to 7 roughly. Um, and then I prefer how the show, or I mean, how the comic did 7 to the end. So we're gonna basically just fuse those two together. So we have the ultimate version of TWD in my head canon, I guess. This is how it should have worked. So essentially, we're gonna need to first set out some things that are gonna be different from the show straight away to make it make sense with a more comic accurate ending section with the last few arcs. So we're gonna have to potentially keep Sophia alive. She dies at the end of season 2 in the show, but obviously she ends up becoming Carl's wife at the end of the comic. So she's gonna need to be alive, either her or substitute her character with someone else, like, I don't know, Enid or something, um, or somebody else. Anyway, we got that sorted out. And then we also need to make sure that Carol obviously stays alive like she does in the show, but that would mean that in the comic, what she's gonna do, like at the end part of the show, obviously she's still alive. Comic, she's dead in the prison. So how are we gonna factor her into this redone version of the uh, the show? So basically, we are going to have Carol take Michonne's spot as Ezekiel's like love interest, um, essentially in the show, which I think is what they did anyway, from what I recall, in a way, um, because Michonne is still gonna be with Rick in this version, because I prefer that version of the story the way that the show did it. So Andrea's still dead. I think that would work best, in my opinion. That would be better because, as I said, I prefer the Michonne ship for Rick. Um, the thing is with the daughter of Rick and Lori, or with uh, Sean, or whatever, with Shane. I mean, with Shane and Lori potentially. You know what I mean? Uh, she's either still alive like she is in the show, or she's dead in the prison like she was in the comic. Now, I think it's fine. We can keep her alive in the show. Just make sure that Carl is still alive, because that's the main driving point behind this thing. I want Carl to still be alive and not die in the All Out War section like he did in the show. Because in the comic, he survives. Because, I mean, the whole driving force of Rick in the comic is Carl, keeping Carl alive, keeping him safe. He's the future. You know, if he's dead, what's the point? You know, that's how I feel about it, at least. So basically, we're gonna keep Carl alive, but All Out War is generally kind of like how it is in the comic for the most part, with a few small changes to make it fit into the TV show's continuity. So yeah, we got that going. Um, Aside from that, end result of All Out War is just how it is in the comic, basically. Then we've got the Whisperer arc. Time skip and everything happens. We get one armed Rick with the short hair and everything. One armed Rick is still happening. I think that would be better, at least continuity wise, although that would be difficult to shoot. And everything with, you know, the main character of a TV show, I imagine it must be really difficult to work around the whole one handed thing. Um, especially because they got to use guns and all that. So are we still gonna have the governor cut off Rick's hand? You'd have to have it for this to happen, but maybe no, maybe just don't have that. I mean, it changes a lot of elements. If you read the comic, Rick basically becomes like, he has to watch the fights happen instead of participate in a bunch of them, because he's essentially like unable to fight properly because he has one hand. I mean, they even mess up in the comics sometimes. Like Charlie Adler or whatever would sometimes draw Rick in the background with two hands using the gun by accident sometimes, because I mean it's pretty inefficient and weird because you can't really use a gun properly with one hand because you need to reload. How are you going to reload with one hand? Is not in a combat situation. Not very practical. But anyway, so maybe or maybe not, he keeps his hand, like he does in the show, for logistic reasons, I guess. Um, Besides that, we're just gonna have the Whisperers arc the same basically as it is in the comic, and the Commonwealth section, which is the ending section, that stays the same. But Michonne's daughter is an issue in this situation because she doesn't exist in the show, from what I recall. She has like a little son, Michonne does, who dies and is obviously not in the Commonwealth at the end. She doesn't have a daughter in the Commonwealth at the end either in the show. At least I think. I don't know. I didn't. When it comes to the show, I kind of stopped watching properly during season 8 because I didn't like how they did the All Out War storyline. But I do know, like I did see overviews and stuff, like recaps and whatnot of what happens in seasons 8 till 11 to at least know what happened, because in the show I watched till season 8, which was like one of my favorite shows ever. Still is, but then I just switched to the comic and read that the whole way through. But anyway, uh, there we've got what happens essentially. Commonwealth stays the same for the most part, but Michonne's daughter, we might add her into the show, but that would just change the whole son situation at the start her section when she gets introduced to her daughter and everything, so it's more close to the comic. Because otherwise, it would be really weird with the whole Commonwealth situation. Because I mean, she might still, I guess, get the lawyer position because she was still a lawyer before, but her daughter's not there, so she'd be less motivated to stay and all that stuff. So that would throw a whole wrench into everything, I feel like. So I guess we're just gonna have to kind of skirt around that by just saying, yeah, her daughter's still alive. Add her into the show basically retroactively, or just make it so that she's already there. Um, and yeah, that's basically it for this Walking Dead. What if the show essentially goes the same roughly from seasons 1 to 7 ish, and then goes towards how the comic is from seasons 8, like halfway through season 7. I'd say start All Out War, and then have that end halfway through season 8, then have the Whisperers from like season 8 second half to season 9 start, then have the Commonwealth from season 9's start-ish or half-ish point till the end, and then that's it, the show's over. The last episode could be like the epilogue with Carl and his family and everything at the end after Rick's dead. So yeah, that way we could also have the show end in season 9, so even if Andrew Lincoln wants to leave still at season 9, well, it would be okay because his character would canonically die during that time, and the show would be over in season 9 anyway. So yeah, that's it. Pacing fixed essentially. You have the show end at season 9. Have the ending few arcs just be like how they are in the comic. We had to switch a few things around because otherwise it wouldn't make sense really, because the show changes a lot. Even in the first few seasons, quite a bit's changed. Some of these changes obviously are great, like adding the Dixon brothers. Shane's character is way better in the comic, in the show than in the comic, because in the comic he dies within like 5 minutes practically of reading the comic. But yeah, that's about it. If you have any suggestions for videos or anything pertaining to this, or anything in general, drop it in the comments. Thanks for listening, guys. That's about it. Yeah, bye, guys.